Hey, what's up guys, it's Renaldo here. So this video is going to focus on new regulations that are going to be implemented in schools through the Bela Act that is literally going to swing the balance of power from the school governing bodies to that of the state, which means more state control, and which means that the state has got the final say of what happens in the schools rather than the school governing body deciding what is in the best interest of the school. Now, what makes this even more problematic is that the current Minister of Basic Education in South Africa is a DA minister, and this minister's political party, before the election, told us endlessly that they will fight Bela tooth and nail, they will take it to the court, and here we are with no court case and their minister implementing this destructive policy. Now, before I show you this article and all the evidence, please be sure to subscribe to this channel. It's absolutely free. It won't cost you anything, as well as smashing the like button and sharing this video. So let's have a look. Now, as always, thanks to Newsday for this brilliant article. Everybody, please go and subscribe to newsday.co.za. They are producing world-class articles. They're very balanced. They're very neutral. Exactly the opposite of what you get at IOL and News 24 and Daily Maverick, etc., etc. So the headline is New Regulations Threaten Schools Across South Africa. And as you can see, the minister there is Minister Siviwe Garube, who is a DA minister. Now, Janelle Prinsloo, education researcher at the Solidarity Research Institute, warned that new regulations threaten schools across South Africa. She cited 3 new draft regulations under the Bela Act that all indicate a shift towards greater state control over public schools. The Basic Education Laws Amendment, Bela Act, is a South African law signed by President Cyril Ramaphosa in September 2024. It updated 2 pieces of education legislation, the South African Schools Act of 96 and the Employment of Educators Act of 1998. The most controversial sections of the Act involve the balance of power between school governing bodies, SGBs, and provincial education departments. School governing bodies retain the right to draft a school's language policy. However, this is not set in stone. The provincial heads of department hold the final approval power and can instruct a public school to adopt an additional language of instruction. They also have the authority to override a governing body's admission policy to prevent discrimination or to ensure that all children in a geographic area are placed in a school. Equity above equality. Nice, right? Prinsloo warned that the 3 new draft regulations could further limit the authority of governing bodies and school communities. Proper regulation is necessary, but schools cannot become administrative extensions of provincial education departments, she said. She argued that school governance must remain vested primarily in parents and school communities. Now, the first set of draft regulations addresses governing body elections and provides for electronic nominations and e-voting, stricter verification processes, extensive record keeping, and a greater role for district and provincial officials. The second set focuses on teacher development through provincial institutes and district centers. There are concerns about a uniform state model that does not take into account the significant differences between provinces, urban areas, and rural communities. And the third set of regulations imposes stricter requirements of additional compensation for state-appointed staff. This could limit schools' ability to compensate staff quickly and reasonably for extra work such as sport, culture, extra classes, school outings, and camps. Teachers need practical support, not more administrative structures that make little difference in the classroom, she said. Johan Botha, head of the Solidarity Teachers Network, said that governing bodies must still have the space to make responsible decisions in line with their school needs. These regulations affect every public school. Parents, governing bodies, and school communities must now make their voices heard to protect school autonomy, they said. Now, do we really need more state control? We've seen what state control has given us through the state-owned enterprises, the things that we had to fund consistently as taxpayers, billions of rands being thrown down the drain. But hey, this time, state control is fine. And what really irks me is the fact that the DA that before the election promised the electorate that they were going to fight this tooth and nail are now quiet. And if you don't believe me, have a look at the articles that they themselves wrote on their own website. Now, please note that this is the DA's website. This is not me creating a fictitious website. This is their website. And this headline says, DA maintains strong opposition as Bela bill leaves select committee. And this was dated the 2nd of May 2024. And then you can read it here on their website and their key issues. I mean, the first one, centralization of authority. The bill hands extensive decision-making power to the heads of provincial basic education departments, diminishing the role of school governing bodies. They mention the exact problems that is stated in that article, and yet they have a minister that's implementing it. And here's another one. DA condemns President Ramaphosa's divisive approach to the Bela bill. And this was the 13th of September 2024. So this, once again, another DA article. Another one. DA raises concerns and vows to fight draconian Bela bill after conclusion of Eastern Cape hearings. This was the 14th of June in 2023. It's 3 years ago. Another one, DA to form united front against Bela bill in biggest ever court challenge against ANC school capture. That's what they called it. They called it school capture. So this is not me saying these things. This is the DA promising that they were going to fight Bela. And where are we now? Well, let me tell you where we are. There's no court case. No, there's no court case. The court case that the DA promised in 2023, nothing. And instead of actually fighting this, they now have a minister that has to implement this act, and the minister is implementing this act. So, you can sit there and say, Renaldo, why are you bashing the DA? But just answer the questions that I've got here. You've made promises to your electorate that you were going to fight this ANC school capture, which you identified as being ANC school capture. You said that you were going to take the ANC and the government to court. And here we are in 2026. And not only is the Minister of Basic Education a DA minister, but the DA is implementing the Bela Act. These destructive policies that they said they were going to fight against, they are implementing it. This ANC school capture, the state control that they consistently say that they want to fight against, they are implementing it. So, I know that people in the comment section and on Facebook are going to say, why are you so obsessed, Renaldo? You're a bitter ex. But whilst you do that, please just answer this simple question. Why is the DA going against what they promised their voters? Why are they not taking action against the Bela Act? Why are they at the very least not taking the high road and telling their minister to step down from that position and to hand that ministerial position over to the ANC? Because right now you have betrayed your voters, you have betrayed South Africa, and how can anybody trust whatever comes out of your mouth? Because we are heading into the 2026 elections. How can we trust the promises that the DA are making if they are actually implementing something that is so destructive and so communist and so against what the DA was before the 2024 elections? At what point do the voters out there, you that say we need to vote for the DA, when are you going to hold your party accountable for what they said they were going to fight against and now supporting and implementing? Ultimately, though, I think this is such a betrayal, not necessarily to the voters, but to the youth of this country and to the parents of the youth. Because for many years, for decades, we were told that state control is bad and evil, and we can see it through state-owned entities and state-owned enterprises. And yet, here we have the DA that is implementing it and acting like they never said that this is evil and that this is bad. And ultimately, though, to the voters out there, specifically the DA voters that aren't asking these questions to their political party, explain to me how you are any different to a blind EFF or ANC voter that you criticize all the time for just blindly following and supporting the party. How are you any different when the DA is doing exactly the same thing to you? And that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to smash that like button. Share this video far and wide. Don't forget to subscribe. It's absolutely free. It won't cost you anything. However, if you'd like to contribute financially to this channel, you can do so by clicking on the $ below and choosing an amount. Or you can become a member of this channel by clicking the join button below. It'll be greatly appreciated. And that's all I got to say. Till later. Cheers and peace out.
me that everybody see you say, hey, massacre, hey, massacre. You don't even know me that everybody see you say, hey, massacre, hey, massacre.